So I'm here with Julia, and we're going to start standing today and roll the spine down, do a little bit of movement for the spine and the pelvis, and then we're going to roll the spine down from standing, which I actually think is kind of advanced and hard, and then we're also going to roll the spine down onto the back. So we'll start standing and finish down on the back, which will, I think, be really nice. So we'll go ahead and start standing, Julia. So you can just be in a comfortable position. It doesn't matter where you are on your mat. And I like to have my feet apart. And I actually have my feet, I think, sometimes wider than hip distance apart. That makes me feel more stable. So wherever you feel stable in your feet, that's my most important thing. I want you to actually feel as if your legs are like a plant stand in a way. Like your legs are going to stay relatively stationary. And then we have the flower pot of your pelvis. And then we have the sprout of your spine growing up. Okay? As we move, though, we're going to allow the flower pot to move. So we're going to allow the pelvis to move forward and back as we do these. We're doing half sun salutations. So we're going to allow the pelvis to move, but different from what you might have normally been taught, I don't want you to move the legs so much. And that's just because I want you to feel the pelvis moving on the thigh bones, on your femur bones. So I want you to feel the roll of the pelvis forward and the roll back up. Main thing before we start, too, is I think a lot of times when people fold forward, they just push their butts back. It's like engineering. It's cantilevering. You're just shoving the butt back to bring the chest forward. So what I'm going to ask Julia and you all to do today as well is to soften the knees and to think of the pelvis rolling forward. And as you come forward, you try to keep the pelvis relatively over the feet as you tilt forward. It's hard. It's definitely hard. So, of course, the butt's going to go back a little bit. But all right, so Julia's going to find a nice solid stance in her feet, little softness in her knees. Remember, we're always checking on the joints beneath the pelvis. I mean, you can check on the other joints too, but check on the ones that you're standing into. See if you can feel the buoyancy of your arches. And maybe that makes sense to some of you. Maybe it makes sense to some of you that you feel like